Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about a truth that many people are deeply mistaken about. A truth that has caused countless older adults to feel anxious and unsettled when memory begins to fade, when familiar things suddenly turn into unanswered questions drifting through the mind. Many believe this is simply inevitable with age. But the reality is very different. Science has proven the opposite. Our memory does not simply disappear because time passes. That's right. Age is not the greatest enemy of memory. What quietly erodes the brain day after day comes from habits that seem harmless on the surface. Small actions, repeated over and over, accumulating across months and years, slowly strip away the mental clarity we could have preserved. And what is even more concerning is this. A great many people are living with 5 of these habits without realizing it at all. They accept confusion, forgetfulness, difficulty concentrating as an unavoidable part of growing older. But that belief is wrong. The human brain, even at 60, 70, or even 80 years old, still has the capacity to recover if we know how to change. In today's video, we will go straight to the point and uncover 5 common habits that are causing memory decline in older adults. No detours, no sugarcoating, because this is not just information, it is a wake-up call. An opportunity for each of us to take an honest look at ourselves, and perhaps, from this moment on, begin a new journey, a journey to reclaim clarity, sharpness, and mental strength that time has no right to take away. I ask you to listen with openness and seriousness, because the smallest changes can sometimes transform the entire road ahead. If you want to watch the full and important content of this video, comment the number 1 below. This is not just a simple action, it is a reminder to yourself. I am ready, I want to understand, and I want to protect my memory. Just one number, but it could be the first step toward preserving the most important things in life. Your memories, your clarity, and your ability to fully live each moment. If you are ready, comment 1 and let's continue together. Establishing credibility. Before we dive into each specific habit, there is one crucial truth that must be made absolutely clear. The human brain does not age in the way most people believe it does. Research in neuroscience and geriatrics in the United States has consistently shown that memory does not naturally decline simply because we get older. The reality is this: the brain retains its ability to adapt, reorganize, and recover throughout an entire lifetime. Scientists call this ability neuroplasticity, the brain's capacity for flexibility and change. This means that even at 60, 70, or beyond, the brain can still form new connections. It can still become stronger if we know how to use it and nurture it properly. The real issue is not how many years we have lived. The real issue is how we have lived those years. Clinical reports across the United States reveal something striking. More than 70% of memory decline cases in older adults are not directly linked to serious neurological disease. Instead, they stem from everyday behaviors, ordinary habits woven into daily life. Habits that seem harmless, but repeated long enough, gradually reduce blood flow to the brain, trigger low-grade inflammation, or weaken the brain regions responsible for memory processing. That is why, when it comes to memory, we cannot blame time. Time is merely the backdrop. Habits are the real cause, and it is precisely from this scientific foundation that we can make a powerful claim. Memory can be improved, cognitive decline can be slowed, and in many cases, partially reversed if changes are made in time. The key lies in identifying the real causes, recognizing the habits that are quietly harming the brain day after day. And now, with sufficient data, solid evidence, and a clear understanding of how the brain truly works, we move forward to the next section. The 5 most common habits that cause memory decline in older adults, most of which can be changed starting today. Once the scientific foundation is clear, examining each habit becomes sharper, more convincing, and most importantly, more actionable. If you are ready, let's continue. Habit 1, living too sedentarily. When the brain slowly falls asleep. In many families, when parents or loved ones reach old age, a familiar phrase is often heard. "You're old now, just rest and take it easy." It sounds reasonable. But in reality, this is one of the biggest misconceptions about aging and health. Because when the body stops moving, the brain slows down with it. Think of the brain as a finely tuned machine that requires constant fuel to function. Every step you take, every stretch, every movement of the body sends a signal to the brain saying, "I'm still alive, I still need you to work." But when a person sits more, walks less, and limits interaction with the surrounding world, blood flow to the brain begins to decline. And when that blood carrying oxygen and vital nutrients no longer circulates as strongly as before, the brain enters a state scientists call understimulation. In other words, it is not being challenged or activated enough. The consequences are clear. The regions responsible for memory begin to slow down. Concentration weakens. Forgetfulness becomes more frequent and more noticeable. Multiple studies in the United States have shown that older adults who maintain light daily physical activity, even just 20 to 30 minutes of walking, have better memory, faster mental responses, and longer-lasting cognitive clarity than those who remain inactive. Movement is not about building muscles like a young person. Movement is about waking up the brain, about reminding it, you are still needed, you still have work to do. The good news is this: you don't need a gym. You don't need intense workouts. A morning walk around the house, a few gentle stretching exercises, a short stroll around the neighborhood. As long as the body moves, the brain benefits. On the other hand, prolonged inactivity slows the body, dulls the mind, and gradually pushes the brain into a state of sleep. Left unchecked, this can become a direct contributor to more serious memory decline. That is why, when it comes to protecting memory, we cannot ignore the simplest truth of all. When the body moves, the brain stays alert. When the body stays still for too long, memory begins to fade. This is why the first habit, seemingly harmless, has such a profound impact on memory in older adults. And countless people are falling into this pattern without even realizing it. Once this is understood, the first step toward change becomes clear. Begin moving again, slowly, gently, but consistently. Even small movements, done regularly, can awaken a brain that has been silent for far too long. Habit 2, not getting enough sleep or sleeping poorly. If physical movement is what awakens the brain during the day, then sleep is the brain's silent repair crew working through the night. Yet, many older adults underestimate the importance of sleep, or worse, they accept short, restless, fragmented sleep as a normal part of aging. That belief is completely wrong. When we fall into deep sleep, the brain does not rest the way most people assume. In fact, this is when it works the hardest, clearing out neurotoxic waste, reorganizing information, strengthening memories, and building new neural connections. If daytime is when we experience the world, then nighttime is when the brain turns those experiences into real, lasting memory. But when sleep is disrupted, waking up repeatedly, going to bed too late, struggling to fall asleep, or sleeping only 3 to 4 hours a night, this entire process is interrupted. Memories that haven't been fully stored simply slip away. Important information is never properly organized. Damaged brain cells don't get the time they need to repair themselves. Over time, this leads to symptoms many people know all too well. Waking up tired despite having slept for hours, a heavy, foggy mind, difficulty concentrating, forgetting things shortly after learning them, trouble retaining new information. Studies in the United States show that in older adults, improving sleep quality for just 2 weeks can lead to a significant improvement in memory performance. This proves an important point. Memory is not gone. It is simply being held back by poor sleep. No one can remain healthy while living in a constant state of sleep deprivation, and no brain can stay sharp without proper rest. Quality sleep does not come from sleeping pills. It does not come from lying in bed longer. It comes from a balanced daily rhythm, a calm mind before bedtime, reduced screen exposure, limited caffeine, and a consistent sleep schedule. One truly good night's sleep can sometimes be more valuable than an entire week of supplements. Because sleep is the blueprint for memory restoration designed by nature itself, and when we neglect it, memory is the first thing to suffer. Once we understand this, it becomes clear: poor sleep is not a small issue. It is a quiet habit, but one with the power to damage memory far more deeply than most people ever realize. If you're ready, we'll move on to habit number 3, an overlooked cause that weakens the brain day by day, often without people even noticing it. Habit 3, starving the brain through lack of stimulation. There is a truth many people rarely consider. The brain also needs nourishment, but not just from food. It needs intellectual and emotional stimulation. Yet as people grow older, daily life often becomes so repetitive that the brain is left with almost nothing new to process. Every day looks the same. The same television programs, the same routines, little conversation. Minimal social interaction, very limited contact with the outside world. When everything becomes predictable, the brain begins to save energy by reducing activity in the areas responsible for memory and information processing. Not because the brain has weakened, but because it is not being used enough. Like a sophisticated machine left untouched in a corner, the longer it sits idle, the harder it becomes to operate. Memory works the same way. Scientists in the United States have shown that people who regularly learn new things, read, engage in conversation, participate in community activities, or simply do something different from their usual routine have stronger memory and a significantly lower risk of cognitive decline. What matters most is not the difficulty of the activity, but its novelty. The brain only needs gentle challenges each day to maintain its flexibility, an engaging conversation, a new book, a story you've never heard before, taking a different route on your morning walk, even learning how to use a new app on your phone. The moment the brain has to think just a little more, it begins forming new connections. Each time this happens, memory is reinforced. Mental clarity is preserved. But when life falls into a monotonous loop, the brain loses its drive to stay active. It slowly fades into silence. Lack of stimulation does not cause pain. It does not create obvious symptoms. But quietly, it takes away something priceless. The ability to remember and to respond mentally with speed and clarity. That is why this habit is so often overlooked, despite its powerful impact on memory. The brain needs to be fed with knowledge, emotion, and new experiences. And with just one small change each day, you give it a reason to stay alive, flexible, and strong. If you're ready, we'll move on to habit number 4, an issue more dangerous than many realize, because it harms not only memory, but the spirit as well. Habit 4, social isolation, the quiet erosion of memory. Among all the habits that threaten memory in older adults, social isolation may be the most underestimated. It causes no pain, no physical exhaustion, no obvious warning signs, yet its silence weakens the brain day by day. Human beings are born to connect. Voices, eye contact, shared stories, everyday conversations, these are all forms of mental nourishment that keep the brain alive. But as age increases, many people begin to withdraw. They meet others less often. They talk less. They go out less. And slowly, without realizing it, they separate themselves from the world. This gradual withdrawal deprives the brain of emotional input, language, and social interaction. The regions responsible for communication, reasoning, and memory begin to fire less frequently. Over time, clarity fades, memory slips, and people assume it is simply old age. But it isn't. It is loneliness. Research from leading universities in the United States shows that older adults who maintain social connections, even through simple daily conversations, have stronger memory, faster thinking, and a more positive outlook on life. A single, joyful conversation can revive a neglected area of the brain. A coffee with friends can preserve neural connections that are beginning to weaken. A small gesture of checking in can change someone's entire day and their mental health. In contrast, prolonged loneliness is like a fog settling over the mind. It not only erodes memory, but also steals joy, motivation, and the sense of belonging that has kept people mentally sharp for decades. What makes this especially tragic is that many older adults do not realize they are becoming isolated. They grow accustomed to silence. But familiarity does not mean it is healthy for the brain. The brain needs the presence of others. It needs laughter. It needs stories. It needs the feeling of being connected to the world. And sometimes stepping outside one more time, making one extra phone call, or opening up with a small shared thought is enough for memory to begin finding its light again. If this resonates with you, comment 1 to let me know you want to continue to the final part, habit number 5, a dangerous cause that can still be changed starting today. If you believe that you or your loved ones have never experienced social isolation, comment 0 and share your perspective. Habit 5, a diet that fails to nourish the brain. On the journey to preserving memory, few people realize just how deeply their daily diet affects brain function. Yet the truth is this: although the brain makes up only a small fraction of body weight, it consumes more than 20% of the energy we take in. That means every meal on the table directly influences memory, concentration, and information processing, especially in older adults. The problem is that many seniors' diets are simply not designed to support brain health. Too many refined carbohydrates, too much sugar, too many packaged and ultra-processed foods. Over time, these choices promote chronic low-grade inflammation, impair blood circulation, and gradually damage nerve cells. That is why so many people eat enough, yet still feel fatigued, mentally dull, and increasingly forgetful. The brain is not lacking food, it is lacking the right nutrients. When the body is supplied with brain-supportive foods, memory can improve noticeably in a relatively short time. Healthy fats from fish, avocados, and nuts. Antioxidants from fruits and vegetables. B vitamins and omega-3 fatty acids. Along with adequate daily hydration, these are clean, efficient fuels that allow the brain to function smoothly. The brain is like a precision engine. Good fuel keeps it running quietly and efficiently. Poor fuel makes it sluggish, fragile, and difficult to repair. A nutrient-rich meal does more than nourish the body, it nourishes memory itself. Every food choice has the power either to sharpen the mind or to push it towards sluggishness and premature aging. The key point is this: no one needs extreme dieting or complicated rules. Simply adding more natural, fresh, nutrient-dense foods to daily meals and cutting back on sugar, industrial oils, and processed products is often enough for the brain to feel the difference. Memory decline does not always come from disease. Sometimes it is nothing more than a reflection of what we choose to eat day after day. And when we change the way we eat, we send a clear message to the brain. I want you to stay healthy. I want you to keep walking this road with me for years to come. Poor nutrition is the final piece in the chain of habits that contribute to memory decline in older adults. But, like the habits before it, this one can be changed. And when it is, the brain responds with greater clarity, sharper thinking, and stronger, more resilient memory day by day. The climax, a shift in perspective. By now, you may have realized something essential. Memory decline is not an inevitable consequence of aging. It is not a destiny that everyone must accept simply because the years go by. On the contrary, it is our daily habits, the ones so familiar we barely notice them, that are quietly draining our mental clarity. And this is the moment we must reverse the narrative. A decisive shift. A truth science has made unmistakably clear: age does not determine memory. Habits do. This means your memory has not disappeared, it has merely been obscured by long-standing choices that no longer serve you. We do not lose the ability to remember, we stop nurturing it, we stop challenging it, we stop giving it the chance to live up to the strength it was designed to have. And, most importantly, it is never too late to begin again. The human brain has an extraordinary capacity for renewal. It can rebuild new connections, it can adapt, recover, and grow stronger even at 60, 70, or 80 years old. All it takes is change, even small change, and the brain responds. A short walk, a full night of restorative sleep, a new page in a book, an honest conversation, a nourishing meal. Each of these actions, no matter how modest, is a brick in the process of rebuilding your mental clarity. The truth is this: no one can turn back time, but everyone can shape the future of their memory. Do not let anyone tell you that you are too old to improve. Science rejects that idea. Real life rejects it, and countless people have already proven it wrong. The only question that remains is this: are you ready to turn the page? If you would like me to continue with a conclusion and a clear, integrated set of solutions, comment 1. If you feel you already understand the message and prefer to reflect on it yourself, comment 0 and share your perspective. The choice you make today may become the turning point for your memory tomorrow. Final section, an inspirational message. When we talk about memory, many people think only of the past events that happened, stories that have already been told. But memory is more than a collection of yesterday's moments. It is how the mind shapes the present and builds the future. A future that is clear or clouded, strong or diminished, begins with the small choices we make every day. And after examining these 5 common habits, one truth becomes unmistakably clear. Memory does not fade on its own. It simply reflects what we have allowed it to endure. Lack of movement slows the brain. Poor sleep prevents memories from fully forming. Repetition exhausts the mind by denying it challenge. Social isolation dries up the inner world. And poor nutrition deprives the brain of the fuel it needs to function. Yet here's the most powerful part of all. The moment we recognize this, we gain the ability to change. Every new choice made today has the power to rewrite the quality of memory tomorrow. No complicated methods. No drastic measures. Just small, meaningful steps that truly matter. A bit more movement. A deeper, more restorative night of sleep. Something new to learn or explore. A genuine human connection. A nourishing, thoughtful meal. These are the natural remedies the brain has been waiting for all along. Age cannot be stopped, but memory can be protected. Time cannot be reversed, but mental clarity can be cultivated. And each of us has the right to decide whether we will live the rest of our lives with a foggy mind or a clear, awakened spirit. It is never too late to begin. It is never too late to change, because the brain is always waiting for one simple signal. I still need you, and I want you to stay strong. When we choose to care for our memory, we are not just preserving information, we are preserving who we are. Preserving our connection to the world. Preserving the memories that shaped a lifetime. And sometimes, that is more valuable than anything time can ever give or take away.